This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purpose only.
Hello everyone. In this section, we will talk about server-side attacks. Server-side attacks don't require user interaction. These attacks can be used with the web server. We can also use them against a normal computer that people use every day. So, to do these attacks, we are going to be targeting our meta-exploitable device. The reason why we are going to be using it against our meta-exploitable device is that if our target uses a personal computer and if they are not on the same network as us, then even if we manage to get their IP address and their IP address is going to be behind the router, and they will probably be connecting to a router, and therefore if we use the IP to try and determine what applications are installed and what operating system run on it, we will not get much useful information because we are only going to be getting information about the router and not about the person. So the person will be hiding behind the router. So when we are targeting a web server, then the server will have IP address and we can access that IP address directly on the internet. This attack will work if a person has a real IP and if the person is on the same network. If we can ping the person, even if it is a personal computer or anything, and then we can run all the attacks and all the information gathering method that we are going to learn about. Now we are going to targeting our meta-exploitable device. Before we start working on it, we will just check the network setting. So to just verify, it is set to a NAT and it is on the same network as in the Kali. Okay, so what we are going to do here is we're going to simply open this is the meta-exploiter, okay, and this is the virtual box. So what we are going to do here is we are going to check whether both of these machines are on the same network or not. So first we are going to get inside Kali Linux, click on setting, and after clicking setting, as you can see that this is the pop-up menu and you will find here network. So when you click on network, you will see attached to NAT network and name is NAT network. Okay, now get back to the meta-exploitable, and when you click on settings, you will find this menu and here you will click on network. So as you can see that attached to NAT network and name is NAT network. So this thing is clear that both the devices or both the machines are in the same network. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply open the meta-exploitable. So this is the machine which we are going to hack. So as you can see that this is looking like Kali Linux terminal. So currently we are inside it. So what we are going to do here is we are going to simply taking its IP address. So how we can do this? We can simply just type here if config and hit enter. So after hitting enter, as you can see that H0 in the second line 10.0.2.5. So this is the IP address of this particular server or is this particular machine. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do here is we are going to simply open our Kali Linux machine and terminal. Okay, so now terminal window is opening. Okay, so this is our terminal window. So let's make it zoom. So what we are going to do here is we are going to simply type here ping 10.2.5. so this is the IP address, and ping is the method to see whether a device is on or working or not or active actually. So hit enter. So as you can see that the response from the device is now coming. So that means the device is running and active. Okay, so this thing is clear. So I'm going to terminate it. Okay, so I'm going to terminate it and open the web browser. So it will take some time, and inside web browser I'm going to use that particular IP address of meta-exploitable machine, and the purpose is to show you that particular machine we can use inside our Kali Linux machine. Okay, so this is the place where we are going to enter the IP address, which is 10.2.5 and hit enter. So as you can see that our machine is now active, and these are the things that we are going to use later on this course. Okay, so we can use these attacks and these approaches against any computer that we can ping. Server-side attacks work against a normal computer, website, web server, people, as long as we can ping them. So just to convey the idea, we will be see the metasploiter machine, and it is just a normal virtual machine that we can use right here to do anything we want. Using the ls command, we can list it, and we can even install a graphical user interface. Then we will be able to use it in a way we use in Kali Linux, but it has a web server, and if we try to navigate to the server, we will see that it has website that we can actually read and browse, as you can see here. Okay, so we are going to have a look on these websites and see how we can pen test them in the later chapters or later sections. Okay, so everything is a computer, and if we can ping the IP, we can use server-side attack. So these attacks mostly works against servers, because servers always has real IP. So if the person is in the server or is in the same network as we are, then we can ping them to do all these attacks as well. So this is the brief introduction about the server-side attack. So in this section, what we are seeing here is how to attack server-side. Now, to do this, first we are going to use information gathering, which is used to show us the installed program, operating system on the target system, and running services on the target and port associated with these services. From these installed services, we can try and get into the system. We can do this by trying the default passwords also. So there is a lot of people that install services and misconfigure them. So we will have another example of this as well. So the first problem with these services is that sometimes a lot of services are designed to give someone remote access to that computer, but they obviously need to have some security implementations. People often misconfigure these services, so we can take advantage of these misconfigurations and gain access to these computers. Another problem with these services is that some of them might even have backdoors. A lot of them will have vulnerability like remote buffer overflow, code execution vulnerability, and this will allow us to gain full access to the computer system. So the simplest way of doing this is something that we have already seen, which is ZenMap. So we use ZenMap with the IP of the website. Using ZenMap, we will get a list of all the services and then Google each one of them to see if they contain any vulnerabilities. We have seen before that the metasploitable device is actually a website. If we want to get the IP of the website, we have to do ping. For example, if we want to get the IP of Facebook, so we have to ping facebook.com and we will get their IP. Now, we will be able to run ZenMap against Facebook IP and get a list of all the running services on Facebook. But in this section, we are going to run ZenMap against metasploitable device, which basically a computer device. Okay, so we are going to run ZenMap in the same way as we did before. To open ZenMap, we will open the terminal and let's zoom it first and type here ZenMap. Okay, and hit enter. So now we will bring up the application. Okay, so we can put any IP which we want to test, but in this video we are going to enter the IP of our target of the metasploitable device, which is 10.0.2.5. okay, so we are going to scan, and then this will give us a list of all the installed applications. Okay, so we are going to do intense scan and hit on scan. It will take some time, not more than 2 to 3 minutes, but it will take some time. So you have to wait till the completion of all these things. Okay, you have to wait because it's going to scan our metasploitable device, so or we can say virtual machine, so it will take some time. So please make sure that your Kali Linux and Meta12 device should be in the same network, which is NAT. Okay, so it will be very easy for us to understand how all these attacks were and how to perform all these attacks. Okay, so as you can see that the scan is running and we are having here nmap output, so where we can see the output, and there we have ports, host, topologies, host details, and scans. Okay, so we are here inside the nmap output. So whatever it will scan, it will come inside this particular tab, which is nmap output. So this is for operating system, this is for host, services, host. Okay, so you have to wait till the completion of all this process because it is scanning something and it will take some time. So let's see here, let's ping. Okay, I need to open it again. Zenmap, hit enter. Okay, so now again type 10.2.5 and hit enter. So it will start scanning. So this is nmap. So this is the code, or this is what we can say the syntax of doing intense scan when you're using nmap. Okay, so this is what we get from the scan machine. Okay, so this is what you can see here. So the process is going on, so you have to wait till the finishing of this because we need some very important and juicy data from this particular scan. So we have to wait till the completion of all this process. So we are having a port or topology, so we are not having anything inside all of these tabs. Okay, so this is the way to scan with the nmap. So just click on nmap output. Let's see, is it completed or not? Okay, okay, so the information that we want is now completed. Okay, so once the scan is finished, we will have open ports and lot of services. Now we will go through nmap output and let's check port by port and read what the service is and Google the name of the services. For example, as what we can do here is we can see we have port 21, which is FTP port. FTP is a type of service that is installed to allow people to upload and download files from a remote server. FTP service, which is also called as file transfer protocol, usually uses username and a password. But we can see that this service has been misconfigured and it allows an anonymous FTP login. So in this, we will be able to log in without a password. Okay, so all we have to do is we should download FTP clients such as FileZilla. Now we will be able to connect using IP address on port 21. We can also Google an FTP server, which is in our case is VSFTPD 2.3.4, and see whether it has any issue or if it has any misconfiguration or if it has any known code execution exploit or anything else. So once we Google this, we can see that VSFTPD has backdoor installed with it. It literally came with a backdoor. When it has released, we need to Google the service one by one and check whether they have any misconfiguration or any exploit installed. Okay, so now look at the port number 512, which is I think here. Okay, so this is the 512. Okay, so this is a port number 512. So now let's assume we went on them one by one and we could not find anything and we reached the port number 512 TCP port. Okay, so now we are going to Google the service that is running on 512 port because we don't know what it is. After Googling, we know that Netkit RSH is a remote execution program. If we manage to log in with this, we will be able to execute command on the target computer. So this program uses RSH login which is a program that ships with Linux, similar to SSH. It allows us to execute remote commands or control on the computer system or the target computer. So now let's go back and see how we can connect to the RSH, our login service. Let's look at that, how to install or how to get Netkit package. And we can see that the Metasploit tool device is Ubuntu. So the target computer is running on Ubuntu, and we can see that in here it uses the RSH client service to connect. So we need to install a RSH client package to connect to that service, and it is a client program for remote cell connection. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to simply open the terminal window here. Let's make it zoom. Okay, let's minimize all the windows. Okay, so what we are going to do here is we are going to type apt-get install rsh client. So this is the command. apt-get is going to install it and configure it for us. Okay, now hit enter. So once it installed, we are going to use our login to login, because the first bit told us that it uses our login program to facilitate the login process. We are going to do our login again, and we don't know how to use this app, so we can use help like our login, hit enter. So this is the way how we can use this. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply type our login. Okay, -l. So what is -l? -l is nothing but this is the important thing are the username and host, which is the target IP. Okay, so this and root 10.0.2 I think. Okay, 5. Now hit enter. So now as you can see that we are having information related to target here. Okay, as you can see that we are having the information about the target. Okay, so this is the information that we want to get from the target side. Okay, so our login lroot 10.0.2.5, so everything is correct. So this is the information that we want to get from the target side. So this is the basic manual way of gaining access to the target computer by exploiting the misconfiguration of an installed service. So the R login service are not configured properly. All we had to do, just Google what came with that port, and we managed to log in and gain access to the target computer. So this is all for this lecture. Hello everyone. In this lecture, we are going to look at very simple exploit, which is backdoor. We are going to choosing this exploit because we are going to look at framework called Metasploit. Metasploit is an exploit development and execution tool. So first, look at how we can find the exploit again, using the same method that we have already been. We have nmap scan. As we know, we are going to go on each port and Google them. So looking for exploit, we will go to Google and search here vspdft and okay pd. This was not the exploit, I think. VSF and TPT 2.3.4. So this is the exploit that we want, and as you can see that the result came from the website Rapid7. Okay, Rapid7 is a company that makes the Metasploit framework, so that's why we are choosing this particular exploit. Now using Metasploit, we are going to exploit this service. Rapid7 will tell us that 2.3.4 version of FTP has a backdoor command execution. So we can basically execute command on the target computer, and if it has this program installed and using the nmap, we can see that this program is installed. So which means that we can execute command on the target machine. So Metasploit is made by Rapid7. It's a huge framework that contains a large number of exploits. It allows us to exploit vulnerabilities or create our own exploits. The command on Metasploit are very simple. So now let's close it first and open the terminal window. Let's make it zoom. So the command that I'm going to tell you is, first, for opening we are going to use msf console. Okay, so what it will do, it will just simply, it is used to run the Metasploit program. And then we are having help. So what is help? Help is nothing but using this command we can get information about the command and description of how we can use them. Okay, so next we have so this command shows the available exploits. We can show the available auxiliary and the available payloads. So the next one we have is use. So this command is used to use something that we have shown. For example, we show the exploit and we pick up a certain exploit that we want to use. So then we use this particular command and we type the exploit name to run it. Okay, so then we have set. So this command is used to set a specific option for exploit. For example, if we want to set the port of target and we set the port and then we enter the value of the port that we want to set it to. Okay, now we are having exploit. So at the end, once we finish configuration, we can type the exploit to execute that particular exploit. Okay, so now let's erase it. Okay, so we went on simply and map, and when we googled the name of service, which is vsftpd 2.3.4 exploit, we can see that this service has a backdoor command execution because this is on Rapid7. So the vulnerability is exploitable using Metasploit, and the module name that we are going to be using is like exploit.unix, like okay, exploit.unix, and ftp we are using for ftp. Okay, and vsftpd dot, no, in this case we are going not to use dot. Okay, so this is 2.3. okay, now this is backdoor. So this is the exploit that we are going to use. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy it, copy selection, and just erase it. Okay, so this is the exploit that we are going to use. So now we will go to our console and we are going to run msf console and hit enter. So it will take some time, it's a huge framework, so it's going to take some time. And what we are going to do here is we are going to simply copy and paste that particular exploit here. Okay, so you have to wait till the completion of all this process, and after some time you will be able to use this Metasploit frameworks, which is the, I think 90% or 95% hackers use Metasploit because this is a very huge framework and very important, and it has lots of payload exploits inside it. Okay, so as you can see that is starting the Metasploit framework console. Okay, so you have to wait. Using it is very simple. So as you can see that we are inside it, and now what I am going to do is I'm going to simply type use because I want to use this particular exploit. So I'm going to paste it. So this is the exploit or backdoor that we want to execute. Okay, now the next thing that, as you can see, this is showing fail. Okay, so something is wrong here, so we have to recheck exploit. Okay, use exploit spelling is correct. Okay, so what we did here is we don't need to add this, we need to add this. Now hit enter. Okay, so as you can see that we are inside this particular exploit. So then we are going to use show command to show options that we need to set. So as we know that show is generic command that we can use in a number of cases. So in this case we will use show option to see all the options that we can change from this particular exploit. So we are going to type show here, show options, and hit enter. So after hitting enter, we can see that the second option, which is here, okay, so we can see the second option is port that service is running on, and it's already been set on 21. Okay, so now if we go back to nmap, and we will see that our target FTP server or client is running on port 21. Now we only need to change the R host, which you can see here. This is the R host. Okay, so you can only change this R host, and that is the IP address of our target Metasploit machine. So we will use set and then we will put the option name. Okay, so how we can do this? We can just simply type set rhost. Everything should be in capital. So this is the IP address. Okay, so now press enter. So after pressing enter, you can see that just simply type show options, hit enter. As you can see that we have successfully set our host to this particular IP address. Okay, so this is how you can set it. So everything is ready. Okay, everything is ready. Okay, let me see it again. Yes, everything is ready. So now we are going to execute the exploit command. Okay, so exploit, hit enter. Okay, so we can see that exploit was running successfully, and how we can access to the target computer, we will simply type ID here. Okay, ID. So as you can see that we are getting its ID. Now I want to know the username. So what I'm going to type, uname -a and hit enter. So as you can see that this is a username. Now I just want to ls and see all the files and everything. Now after hitting ls, as you can see that we are having these many files inside it, and now I want to see in which directory currently I am on. So I'm going to type pwd and hit enter. So we are inside root. So this is as you can see that this was a very simple use of Metasploit. So in the future we will use it for more advanced options. So this is how you can get inside using the exploit to exploit the FTP. So this is all for this lecture. Hello guys, now we are going to have more advanced look at Metasploit, and we are going to see how to use it to exploit a vulnerability that exists in a certain service. It is a code execution vulnerability that will give us full access to the computer target. Now coming back to our result in Nmap, we are going to do the same thing that we did before. We copy the service name and see whether it has any vulnerability or not. Okay, so now we will look at the port number 139, which has a Samba server version 3.x. Just like the previous video or section, we are going to go to Google and search for, okay, first of all let me open browser, and here it will take some time. Actually I'm opening it first time. Okay, so now we are having here this particular browser. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type google.com and hit enter. So after hitting enter, you will see this Google search engine. So now here I'm going to search Samba 3.x exploit and hit enter. So what happened here is we will see that there are a number of results, but we are interested in Rapid7. Okay, Rapid7. Okay, so Rapid7 is a company that makes the Metasploit framework. So that's why we choose this particular exploit. Okay, that's why we are choosing this particular exploit. Okay, oh, this one, Rapid7 Samba. Okay, so that's why we have chosen this particular website. Okay, so this is the exploit that we have here. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do here is I'm going to simply open our terminal window. So first, what the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply, okay, it is not working properly actually, so it is creating some problem. Okay, so next what I'm going to just quit this. Okay, so opening this terminal window, and let's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom it, and after zooming it I'm going to type msf console and hitting enter. So what it will do, it will simply open the msf Metasploit framework for us. With the help of that we can perform this particular attack. So it will take some time because it is a huge framework, as I have told you earlier that it is a huge framework. So the command that we are going to use, simply we are going to type use exploit multi-samba user map script. So this is the name of this particular exploit, so that we are going to use. Okay, so as you can see that is starting the Metasploit framework console. It will take some time. You have to wait till the completion of this. And as you can see that we are successfully completed this particular process. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use exploit multi samba user map script. Okay, is this correct? Okay, now hit enter. So after hitting enter, as you can see that we are inside it. Okay, so we are currently no payload configured default cmd. Okay, so currently exploit some. Okay, we are inside this. So next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to just show options and hit enter. So as you can see that this is showing us the option. Okay, so what we are going to do here is we are going to simply set something. Okay, so we are going to set something that is, as you can see, this is the L host. Okay, where is our host is empty. So I'm going to set our host, which is the IP address of target. So for target IP address, I need to see what is the IP address of target. So this is the target machine that we are having here. So IP address is 10.2. Okay, 10.0.2.5. So this is IP address. Now again, so options, hit enter. As you can see that the R host is being set. Now it's time, as you can see, port is correct. Now L host, this is the IP address. Okay, so L host is the IP address of our machine. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see some payloads also. So why we need payload here? So in the preceding video, we need a backdoor that was already installed on the target computer. So all we had to do was connect to the backdoor, and then we could run any Linux command on that particular operating system or on that particular system. But in this video, the target computer does not have a backdoor. So it has a normal program that has a command execution vulnerability and buffer overflow. So the program does not have any code that allows us to run Linux command. So it has a certain flaw that will let us run a small piece of code, and this small piece of code is called as payload. Okay, so what we need to do is to create a payload and then run it on target computer using the vulnerability that we found, and the piece of code will allow us to do it's a different thing. Okay, so there are various types of payload, so we will look at in the future, and that payload might let us to do Linux command, and we can run the show payload also here. So before running it, I need to figure out each and everything is correct or not. Okay, L host is now okay. Our host port number, L port is correct, and the port. Okay, I think everything is working fine. So I'm going to just type show payload, hit enter. So after hitting enter, you can find that we are having these many payloads. Okay, when you scroll it up, you will see these many payloads that we have here. Okay, so now the payloads are the small piece of code that will be executed on a target computer. Once the vulnerability has been exploited, when we exploit the vulnerability, the code that we are going to pick will be executed. Now, depending on the type of payload we choose, the payload will do something that is useful to us. So we can see that all the payloads are command line. So they let us run a command on the target computer. So there are two main types of payload, which first one is bind payload and the second one is reverse payload. So if we talk about bind payload, so they open the port on the target computer and then we connect to that particular port. But let's talk about reverse payload. Reverse payload is opposite to the bind payload. They open the port in our machine and then they connect from the target computer to our machine. So this payload is useful because this allows us to bypass firewalls. Firewalls filter any connection going to the target machine. But if the target machine connect to us and we don't have a firewall, then we will be able to bypass the firewall. Okay, is this correct? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set the payload. So for setting the payload, I'm going to use set payload Is this correct? Now command that I'm going to do is, or the payload that I'm going to use is cmd unix reverse netcat. Okay, this is the payload. Now hit enter. So after hitting enter, as you can see that we have successfully selected the payload. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is show options. So after hitting enter, now let's see what we are having here is, okay, let me scroll it up. Multi samba, yes, module option, or is this correct? Yes, correct. This port number, and this is the L host of mine, and this is L port. Okay, I think everything is looking very fine. So the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply use set. First of all, I need to set the L port, which is 5555. Okay, now hit enter. Now again, so options, hit enter. So as you can see that we have successfully set our host, our port, L host, L port. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply going to exploit this payload. Hit enter. So after hitting enter, as you can see that the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show the current working directory. Now we are currently inside the root. Now ID, it will tell us the ID. So this is the ID, and I want to know the uname. So this is a second way to exploit any vulnerability. Now hit enter. So this is the username, and now I want to see how many files inside this current working directory. So these are the files that we have inside it. So this is how you can find vulnerability using Zenmap. So the basic process here is you open Zenmap, enter the target IP address, and after entering IP address, you will find there are some open ports. Okay, so after seeing some open ports, you just Google them and learn about them and see how many what kind of exploits and what kind of payloads available there. And after taking all this information, you can exploit that particular vulnerability, or what kind of vulnerability it contains inside it. I'm talking about ports. Okay, so this is how you can exploit all the kinds of vulnerability. So this is all for this lecture. So thank you for watching this lecture.